Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexander, and today I am very excited to be able to showcase my updated Centur-ion Elfnote deck profile. And I wanted to go ahead and start this video off with a question. Given that Mesa Muertos has been out for a little while and everybody has been buying out every single Azamina package they can get their hands on, to include Dark Magician of Destruction, turboing out every copy of their QCR and Starlight Rare Dragoons, what if I told you that I could produce 2 copies of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon during either player's turn, my turn, your turn, whatever? I can produce 2 copies of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon without having to play a single Azamina card. You don't believe me? Well, then let me go ahead and knock your socks off and go ahead and showcase you the deck profile. By the way, super quick. Yeah, I don't have all the cards. I bought the cards and I'm just waiting for them to come to my locals. That's where I bought them, so that way that I can have them shipped out there and then I can just go physically pick them up. So you will be seeing proxies. I know it's disgusting, but the knowledge that I'm providing is why I was so adamant about putting this deck profile out as soon as possible. I just wanted to be the first one. I'm sure other people have thought of this idea. Maybe they haven't. I don't know. I'm not really as involved in the community, and I'm trying to be, which is why I started making videos like this, just to kind of share my 2 cents, my knowledge, and how I've been appreciating and playing the game for so many years as a kid. So this was my take on creating Red Eyes Dark Dragoon as a boss monster for my deck for Elfnote Centur-ion. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. I got to be a man to my word and show you guys how you guys can make 2 Dragoons. So to start things off, you play triple copies of the Fire Elfnote. I bumped this up for consistency. Not much to say about that. I literally just needed to see an Elfnote in my opening hand. Didn't matter which color it was. Triple copies of Tequila, my girl, arguably the best one. I need a rarity bump at some point. This is arguably one of my favorite decks of all time, to include White Forest. I mean, I grew up as a Cyber Dragon player. It was one of the first decks I ever bought growing up. And Cyber Dragon was like the bee's knees for me. So going into like spellcasters and stuff, spellcasters are my favorite type monsters, second to dragons. So it was a matter of time before I found a new deck like this that I was going to play. So for the we're still playing the Elfnote Fortuna. We play triple copies of the Medius the Pure. Literally the best discard fodder and the best normal summon for the deck. There's not much to say. We play 2 copies of Patron. We decided to bump it up for consistency reasons. And also, Elfnote players, please let me know if I'm not the only one that has gone through this. I cannot tell you how many times that I draw my opening hand and it's a bunch of one-ofs that I don't want to see. It's literally a bunch of one-ofs. I hate seeing this. Look at this crap right here. When you open this in your freaking hand, I can't tell you how annoyed this is, dude. When you open these and 3 other hand traps, how do you play from that point on? Yeah, normal summon. Effect? Yeah, what effect? You don't have another one. Now I play 2 for that reason, because it's like, dude, if I'm going to get ashed, I'm going to get ashed. It is what it is. But at least, let me attempt to make the play. I can't even attempt if I only have just this and this. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, cool, GG's, bro. You got it. You're better. So I play this at 2 now for that reason. For the Centurions, we play 1 Primera. You don't need any more than that, really. 1 of the Autry. I play 1 of the Trudea and 1 of the Gargoyle. I have learned to appreciate Gargoyle for its add back effect from the grave. Using it as synchro material, you can add it back from the grave to your hand. This becomes my additional discard fodder. The reason why I'm saying that a lot for discard fodder is because the field spell discards, and then you have to send a monster from your hand or field to use the effect of Welcome Home for Elfnotes. So this essentially just becomes my free send or my free discard. For the hand traps, we decided to play Mulcharmi Fualos just because when I went into my locals, by the way, full disclosure, okay, I was X3 in 5 rounds. I'm going to be honest with you. I was X3, but I wasn't playing the same version that I showed in my last deck profile from my last video. I actually was tweaking it up, and I cut the White Forest stuff. I was only sticking to the Azamina stuff so I could make Dragoons, going into the Dark Magician of Destruction. And every single time that I tried to build a board and play, I was losing a lot of cards. Card economy was like a big issue for me because I wasn't opening Deception, and I would open Black Witch plus Wanton wanted. And it was just like, it was the clumping. It was one problem after another. My opponents already knew what I was doing. My plays were not, they were predictable. So for that reason, we don't play that. And I decided to play the Fuwalos just because there were a lot of people that were playing other decks. They weren't even there was hero decks. I saw some Yummy Tri-Brigade, and honestly, the Yummy Tri-Brigade player, I only got like maybe 1 or 2 draws off of him at the most. He was just foolish barreling everything and then special summoning from the extra deck multiple times because the Tri-Brigade cards just kept banishing for cost to be able to summon. So I never really got a lot of value on it. And then all the other matchups with some, they were just special summoning from the deck or from the graveyard, so it literally never mattered. Perulio was a dead card, essentially. So I went back to the Fuwalos, so that's pretty much the take on that. Triple Ash. Don't know why Twitter's so crazy about banning this card. I mean, it's solid. I'm going to be honest with you. But if I'm being honest, I understand it from both sides. It really does do a lot. Ash is very close to being a very universal hand trap because it hits so much. So I get it. I do. Droll and Shifter need to get banned. That's my take. For the Bystials, I still play. I decided to play the Druis Worm and the Magnamut. A lot of people are not respecting Bystials right now, and I think Bystials are pretty solid because it hits a lot of the Fiendsmith, it hits a lot of the Yummy. It can hit a lot of things. So for that reason, that's why we play it. But it's also an extender too, because a Bystial plus the field spell for Centur-ion gets you into Chaos Angel, or it gets you into some other combo lineups, and then you get the Druis Worm or the Magnamut Search. So it's still pretty good for that reason. It gets you some follow-up, and it interrupts your opponent's plays. So that's pretty much it for the monster lineup here. For the spells, again, this is where the proxies start. So fair warning, this is where the proxies start. But remember the question I asked you in the video before we started. What if I told you I could get out 2 Dragoons? I'm a man of my word. I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. I'm going to show you the secret sauce. The reason why I wanted to risk embarrassing myself just to put this video out without having the cards and I have to proxy. This is why. Okay, so we play triple copies of the field spell. I'm waiting for it to come through. Don't judge me. Literally gets you into all your combo. 1 Wake Up. Triple copies of Emblem Oath. Literally terraforming for the deck. And I decided to play the Centur-ion Bond. There have been a lot of sticky situations where I'm in the grind game and I need an extra body that I couldn't resolve off the effect of Auxilla because my opponent hand trapped me to oblivion, so I could never get it off. So honestly, this has come up more times during the grind game. Also comes up a lot with the second effect too if my opponent outs my board. There's a lot of reasons to argue the at least 1 bond, besides the fact that it is searchable too. It's really, really good. Now for the spice. We play 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. In case you were living under a rock, this card reads that you can send any spell or trap card from your deck to the graveyard. Literally gets you into any spell or trap that you want. So since we're playing some of the White Forest cards like the Diabell of the White Forest, we can send any, let's say, Floodgate-like anti-spell fragrance, and then Diabell can just add it back from the grave if you synchro summon it using a synchro monster as a material. So this gets you into everything, but that's not necessarily why we play it. That's a bonus, but that's not why we play it. The reason why we play this card is because we've maxed out on triple copies of Theo Realize. Now, I know for a lot of what I'm about to say, it's not like 100% an original idea. This is kind of just something that I've picked up on from a lot of the Elfnote Fiendsmith combos that they do, because they can banish this card, turn any monster into the Light Fiend. Yeah, that's cool, but why can't you just do the same thing and just banish this, target one of your Elf Notes, which is already a level 6 spellcaster, make it a dark spellcaster, banish it, be able to summon out Dark Magician of Chaos, Dark Magician of Destruction, use the effect, add the spell, make a Dragoon on your turn before you synchro lock yourself, and then you can make the second one during your opponent's turn. We're getting to that. I'm going to show you exactly how. But that's why I was saying getting to this card becomes prevalent, especially when you're trying to get out 2. That's just me trying to go the extra mile, if I'm being honest with you. The deck doesn't have to produce 2. It's just if you happen to have the line, do it. You know, why not? But the whole thing was I wanted multiple ways to get into the Dragoon. I didn't want just the Azamina way. I didn't want just the Theo Realiza way. I wanted there to be a third way. And so here it is. Here is the third way that we do this. Now, what the spell that I'm showing you right now is Forbidden Droplet. This is the proxy because I wanted you to understand that the card that I'm going to be showing is triple copies of a quick play spell. And the spell card is Duality. Duality is a spell card that came out in, I believe it was, what was it? Battles of Legend. I think it was Monstrous Revenge or something like that, or Monstrous Mayhem. One of those two sets, where they were still doing QCRs. Basically, what that card says is you can target one monster that you control, and you can special summon from your hand or extra deck a monster that has the same level and the same type, but a different attribute. So it has to be light or dark. So if you target a dark, you got to special summon a light, and vice versa. So inherently, the deck already plays a light level 8 spellcaster, and you have to go into this line when you're starting off a lot of your combos. That is the Centur-ion Primera. It's that simple. Are you seeing the sauce? So the Centur-ion Primera is a level 8 light synchro. Dragoon is a dark level 8 spellcaster. Why did I say synchro? Spellcaster. So this meets the condition to make this. The best part about this card too for Dragoon, nowhere in the text does it say must be first fusion summoned or it cannot be summoned by other ways. If it says that, then yeah, this would have been no good. But because that line of text doesn't say it anywhere, it just says if it was made with a normal monster, then you can target a card and pop it. Fine. The Dragoon gets special summoned for free from the extra deck based off of Duality. So Duality will tribute this, summon this, and then that's it. And then if you really care about the Azamina package because Wanted gets you an extra draw, Duality does the same thing. I think if I remember correctly, you target a light and a dark monster, and I think you either banish them or shuffle them into your deck, and then you draw one card. One or the other. Don't quote me on it, but it does allow you to draw as well. I don't know if it lets you draw in the same turn. Again, it's kind of a rough proxy right now because I don't have the card in front of me. But if you want to go ahead and let me know in the comments down below, please let me know. But from my understanding, if I'm completely wrong about this and I'm just talking out of my ass, let me know, dude. I'll turn around so you can understand me. But from my point of view, is that triple copies of Duality is important because Duality gets you into your Dragoon because Dragoon doesn't have any restriction to special summoning it. And Duality is one of those very niche cards that you can't Duality into everything because a lot of the card text for fusion or synchro monsters would say something like, if this card is synchro summoned, if this card is fusion summoned. But a lot of other cards that are starting to come out say, if this card is special summoned, quick effect do this or activate this. A good example of that would be some of the White Forest synchro 6s. The Sylvie or the Rusilia one, if it's special summoned, then you can activate the effect to Book of Moon. You can use the effect to search for a light spellcaster. It just has to be special summoned. And a lot of the other cards that I've noticed are starting to become like that. You just have to special summon them, so they become Duality targets for that reason. So that is the secret sauce. And because it's a quick play spell and you happen to have the Primera on board, you can make the Dragoon during your opponent's turn, especially if you happen to lock yourself early. So that is the secret sauce, ladies and gentlemen. And I wanted to make sure that I put that out. And the reason why, just to justify this too, because I don't know if some people might say like, this is a brick, it's a brick. How is it a brick if I'm already playing this in the deck? You already have to play this in the deck because this is how you play Elfnote, or this is how you would play the Centur-ion version of it. Hell, even people that are playing the extremely minimalistic Elfnote, you're talking about one of the Fortuna and then triple copies of Medius and then like 2 copies of this. I've seen some lists doing that. You're still playing this card is what I'm saying. You're still gaining the accessibility of playing this card, so it's not really a brick. You could argue for Foolish Burial Goods, but Foolish Burial Goods, you can dump the Emblem Oath if you happen to not have it, but you got the Centurions on board. You can get the draw. You can dump the field spell, and if you happen to get to the Diabell, you can add the field spell back and go to combo. So all of these synergize with each other is what I'm saying. They all work off of each other, and you can still produce the same results. The whole thing, I don't have to play the Dragoon. I just thought, since everyone else is, and I wanted to have a cool boss monster too, let me do it, but let me try to do it better. That's the whole reason. Honestly, you could just stick to playing 2 copies of Blazar and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's just as good. It's just as good, no complaints. I just wanted to showcase that there were other ways that you could make Dragoon successfully without having to rely on the Azamina package. That Medius the Pure with the other card is just as good. So, to continue on with the spell cards, we play the 1 Gaze of Timaeus, 1 Welcome Home, and of course we play WinCon, which is Secret Village of the Spellcaster, which is searchable in my deck because we play Ancient Fairy Dragon. For the traps, we still play the Phalanx and we play the Madness. Not really much to say there. I mean, all of these cards are really good, and the fact that we have a negate that is also a Monster Reborn and it's non-targeting for the negation, as long as you control a Synchro monster and the deck inherently plays nothing but Synchro monsters, this card becomes free. It's literally free. Now for the extra deck here, we do play 1 Auxilla, 1 Lagatia, 1 Diabell. Now, with Diabell, she becomes super important into my deck. So a lot of people play Diabell because they want to play the new Zaylin monster. It's the level 7 dragon synchro monster that can negate the first effect that's activated or the second effect that's activated. It's a solid card. I'm not going to lie to you. But the problem that I was having with this deck, I mean, if you want to play the Zaylin, you can cut out the second Dragoon. I've been fighting myself on this for the longest time. I just want to try playing in a tournament where I can open double Dragoon and see what I can do. But if it's still too inconsistent to make, or it requires too much steps, or if it's too hard, or whatever the case is, I'll stick with the 1 Dragoon, or I might just cut Dragoon completely and stick with what I know, which is just playing on nothing but synchro monsters. But I still wanted to have negation. That's the thing that the deck lacks, is omni negates. It has a whole bunch of monster negates, not a lot of omni negates. So that's why we still playing it. There's nothing worse than hearing enter battle, end of battle. Oh my god, dude. There's nothing worse than that. And you have no spell or trap negates. You just have monster negates. It sucks. So that's why I'm justifying playing Dragoons. But this card becomes extremely prevalent because when we have Secret Village of the Spellcaster, we can't synchro summon anymore because we don't have any way to really synchro summon. Or do we? We play Poplar. So Diabell special summons Poplar. Poplar quick effect synchro summons. You synchro summon, you make your Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon targets any one of these, and then you go off and you make all of your other plays for your Cosmic Blazar. I've been looking into a lot of level 10 targets that you can choose, and there's a lot of really, really good level 10s that you can choose too. I think one that I was looking at was Majestic Star Dragon, because when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can negate the activation, destroy it, and then you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. Something along those lines. But I like the fact that that you were able to produce that. I did also like the fact that it was a wind monster. I guess just because like I was able to make something like that in my White Forest variant as well. If you happen to lock yourself from the field spell and you can't summon darks, same thing. It's just for a level 10 instead of a level 12. That's what it is. It's a level 10 target this time. We still play one of the Elfnote Synchro. You have to play it. One TG Hyper Librarian literally comes up where there's a lot of times where I need to make a Synchro 5. Perfect Synchro 5. I mean, the deck literally just draws. Gen X, so freaking good. Gen X is so freaking good, dude. I play almost every attribute in the deck. And it's just the fact that my opponent doesn't know that it's like I can negate based off of every attribute. And he's like, they'll activate something that's an earth. Cool, negate. And then they'll activate something that's a dark. And I'll be like, cool, negate. And it's like, what? It could do that twice? And it's like, dude, it does it for every attribute that I have. I can hit water. I can hit wind. I can hit fire. I can hit light. I can hit dark. It's like the sky's the limit with this card. I can, of course, we're playing Chaos Angel. It's so freaking good. Gets me out of a lot of sticky situations. One Ancient Fairy. We're playing the Primera, which becomes arguably the most important card in my extra deck because this bridges into everything. This literally bridges into everything for me. The second honorable mention to that would be the Elfnote Synchro. Does the exact same thing. One of the Dark Magician of Destruction, and because we want to flex to all those Yugi-tubers and everybody else out there that are relying so hard on the Azamina package when nobody looked at it except for when people were playing White Forest or Snake Eye, we play Double Dragoon. Why? Because we can make it. That's why. It's too easy. It's literally free for me. It's free. It's the freest it's ever been, dude. So that is pretty much the deck profile. The side deck hasn't really changed so much as it was from last time, but I'll go ahead and showcase it to you guys. So in the side deck, I'm kind of debating between playing Droplets in the side deck or not playing it at all. Don't get me wrong, Droplets is a phenomenal card, and so I'm trying to like find ways to put it in my side deck. So for now, I'm gonna say I'm playing triple copies of the Evenly Matched. I'm playing one copy of the Awakening, and I'm trying out one copy of Eradicator. This is probably going to come out, if I'm being 100% honest with you. I was just trying something out. I was trying too hard to be spicy, if I'm being honest with you. But I thought it was just a cool tech choice in case I couldn't get into my field spell. I could just use this call spell, force my opponent to activate everything he has if it's a quick effect. If not, then GG's. We play 2 copies of Lightning Storm, 1 Harpies, and then we play 2 copies of Droll. Droll is still a good card, honestly. There's not really much to say. And this is coming from a White Forest player. I freaking hate getting drolled, but it's still good. You cannot argue the facts. Triple copies of the Perulia, and then we have some honorable mentions here because I still have like 2 slots. So if I were to go that route with what we talked about, we cut this out, and in the last 3 slots are Droplet. But I am trying something out. If I decide not to play Evenly Matched for whatever reason, I wanted to play triple copies of Hopbeard Squadron because this card allows me to quick effect Synchro Summon during my opponent's turn. It literally does the same thing as what Kill Tune Clips does, minus the banish effect from the extra deck, but it does the exact same thing. This gets me into Diabel. Diabel gets me into Zaylin if I decide to cut one of the Dragoons. It gets me into a lot of things. And if it doesn't get me into Zaylin, then it gets me into the Crimson Dragon, which gets me into the Cosmic Blazar. So we always have ways of Synchro Summoning in case we've already burned through it through the field spell. If I don't play triple copies of this, then at some point I want to play multiple copies of Raigeki because it's super free. You can also play 1 Illusion Gate. The only thing is that it just loses really hard to Ghost Spell. But it is a solid card, it really is. And then if you're just scared of Radiant Typhoon, I know I showed this in my last deck profile, but I'm still an advocate for this deck, or for this card. I think it's really, really solid, but playing triple copies of the Poison Winds is really, really good, so long as you have a way to protect it, because MST is a card, so yeah, they can pop it, but if you happen to have the Secret Village or a way to protect your back row from being destroyed, which there are a lot of cards that do that. I think Auxilla already does that for me too, unless it's only for my Centurion cards, then I'm wrong. Then it's only just the Secret Village lock that protects it. This is still solid. I mean, this is nail in the coffin for any Radiant Typhoon player, because they can't special summon wind monsters, and if they do, all of their wind monsters lose 500 attack. But anyways, guys, that is the deck profile. If you guys thought that this was interesting at all, or if I talked way too damn much, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys want to see more in-depth deck profiles like this, and a little more of the combo lines that I'm going to be doing later on, let me know. Let me know if there's some things you would change, or some things that you would add to it, or maybe things I haven't thought of. Your feedback really does go a long way for me. So being able to send comments, or maybe even like the bell, or like the video, ring the notification bell. I mean, all of these things. I'm going to be starting to post content a little more consistently. I am currently in school, so sometimes that does become a bit of a drag to make content, but I usually take every deck profile that I post to my locals to test it out to see how well it does perform. And at some point in the future, I would like to start recording those duels too, and start posting them, because I think you guys would really appreciate that. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. This deck profile took way longer than expected, but thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and I will see you next time. Peace.